October 17th, and we are driving over the Tioga Pass. We're going on a weekend trip to Mammoth Lakes, and it's already snowing. I'm here at the south shore of Moto Lake. Clint Eastwood was out here filming High Plains Drifter. It was his first film that he both directed and acted in. So he was out here a couple of months before scouting for filming locations. Came by himself. He came out here to this long stretch that I just had to walk through to find this spot here behind me. This was where the town of Lago was filmed. I'm actually standing on the main street of town. So that beautiful ridge of mountains there, Eastern Sierras, is in the background in a lot of the film, but Clint Eastwood rides over that ridge down into the town. Well, you know, I'm really huffing it around some of these areas, but I'm not going to be in the exact location, but Clint Eastwood does ride his horse over either that ridge there or this one here. And then he has this overview of the town of Lago down here. That is Test Station Road over there that we came in on. And Sarah's sitting in the car there, but you know that you're in the right location when you see these three boulders. And then that piece of wood there, kind of a barrier. Then if you look over this direction, you will see another fallen log. And that's the beginning of the trail to go to the town side of Lago. Back in the 70s, there would have been a road out here that they brought all the construction materials and cast and crew, catering wagons, materials to build these structures. And as you can tell, the sage has taken it over again, reclaimed it. Nature always reclaims what's his or hers. Now, if you look, there's these strange rock formations. Actually, it's not rock. Look at this. It's just like crumbling dirt. But the shores of this lake are really strange because there's these tufa, these structures out there. Let me zoom in. Now, it's kind of difficult to see where the old road is, but Clint Eastwood came out here by himself scouting filming locations. He must have dodged the sagebrush like I'm doing right here. We're getting close to it. So I'm pretty much filming this at the wrong time of the year and the wrong time of the day, but Clint Eastwood comes riding in right through here. And the way that we know, you follow the horse as it's trotting down through this part of town. The main street of town was like right here. But when he's riding down the road, you see this structure of white rock here. And this is what helps you identify exactly where the town of Lago was. The town would have been right through here with the buildings. So the buildings were on both sides of the street that was right through here. And Clint Eastwood's riding through the center of town. Everybody's looking at him. He's a stranger who's come in. And always in the background you see these hills back here too. This identifying ridge of white rock has certainly changed in the course of 40 plus years. No, actually 50 years. I'm starting to realize how old this film is. And I was about 12 years old when it was filmed, and I'm 63. So it's crazy to think how time flies so fast. But Clint Eastwood, we're going to ride down the middle of Lago, right in this direction here. There's still some traces of the road. When I was watching the film, I saw John Hillerman over in this direction. I recognized John Hillerman. He was one of the actors. All right, so I'm going to take you through the town now. Now, at the end of the road here was where there was a church at the end of town here. This is approximately where the hotel was. There were buildings on both sides of the street. As you can tell, you can see the remnants of the road that went right through here. Almost looks like they took maybe a four-wheeled vehicle through here. But the buildings would have been right through here. Right in this location here was the barber shop where this is first murder. And guess what I just found? Look at this. This is an actual nail from the buildings that they burned down. So I've been told that you can find some stuff out here. Very cool. I'm going to save this one. This is a nail from the town of Lago. Now, I've also heard that people have found pieces of redwood out here. Let me take you out here to the shore. There was one particular scene where they deal with one of the characters of the movie down here. I see a horse dropping, so people know this location. It's not hidden. I mean, a lot of people know about it. A lot of people don't know about it. So every time I look at Mono Lake here, I can't help but think about the time that Samuel Clemens came here. He was before he was Mark Twain, actually. And he came out here in 1861 with his brother, who was appointed by President Lincoln as the secretary to the newly founded Nevada Territory. And he wrote about the experience of coming out here to Mono Lake in the novel Roughing It. And he commented that it was so brackish with alkali that you could basically dip the most soiled garment in the water and it would come out clean. Well, he told this far-fetched story about this dog who fell into the water and had sores, and I guess apparently when he fell in, he started yelping and started taking off running. And actually, it's funny because he said it was last seen shooting off into the mountains at 250 miles an hour, so go figure. And then he also talked about the fact that the tufa here is something that he couldn't explain, and he wanted his readers to explain it. Because the winds are so strong, I'm trying to hunch down and stay out of the wind so I can talk, so you can hear me. But I had a list of all the character actors who were out here, and there's some pretty big names. I apologize for the format for doing this, but the wind is really bad. Higher up I stand. John Hillerman, of course, I told you about him. He was on Magnum PI. There was Mitch Ryan. He was kind of I think he was an high chaparral. Jeffrey Lewis, who played in a lot of the Clint Eastwood movies, Any Which Way But Loose. He was also in Shadow Riders with Tom Selleck. Paul Brinegar, who was in, I believe he was in Wagon Train. John Quaid was in a lot of Clint Eastwood films as well, Any Which Way But Loose. And then Robert Donner, who was, he played in the Waltons. He had a bit part in the Waltons TV show. And also on location was Richard Bull, the actor who would become famous in Little House on the Prairie as storekeeper Mr. Olson. Other actors who appeared at this location were Mariana Hill, who played Kylie Travers, Billy Curtis, who played the friendly dwarf sympathetic to Eastwood's character, Verna Bloom, who went on to star in the movie Animal House, and William O'Connell, who played the wimpy and intimidated Barbara of Lago. So, the movie, I think, is one of these pretty dark and nasty films, one of the Clint Eastwood westerns.
No, you're going to look awfully silly with that knife sticking up your...
So the plot revolves around this mysterious stranger who arrives in town, Lago. He's stirring up trouble and confronting some of the corrupt residents. He rides into this mining settlement one afternoon. He drinks about 3/4 of a beer, half a bottle of whiskey, and he shoots 3 men dead and rapes 1 woman all in the first 15 minutes in this town. But more than 5 decades later, most people believe that this film stands as one of Clint Eastwood's best productions. I personally don't like the movie. This is going to be a bear of a film to deal with sound-wise because I'm finding that the sound's really bad. The wind is just muffling everything. But right about here is where I found this film online, where it shows Clint Eastwood doing some behind the scenes with the camera and working on ladders and such. That was approximately this area.
He's working harder than ever, and now he's directing one of his own films.
Are you using that one? I think if you go through and if you drag this thing around and they come through this way, kind of go with this action. You can be down on the ground, you can probably miss me on the head. Okay, good.
It's the most natural, logical thing for him to do. To be in command, to have total control, not only on the screen, but behind the scenes as well. And like everything else Clint Eastwood does, there's that need to do it well, to give it all he's got, and then some. But Clint's already hard at work, setting up the next scene.
Fade. Hard action. Hold it.
The crew is a happy one in spite of the long hours and longer weeks. In spite of the alkali that burns the eyes, in spite of the pace and pressure, it's a loyal crew, because Clint inspires that kind of loyalty and enthusiasm.
So hey, I at least got a nail. I believe it's from the set. Why else would there be a nail out here? And it was right there in the middle of the road, and it certainly looks like it could be almost 50 years old. So I'm going to take that with me as a souvenir. Don't y'all try to email me saying you'll buy it from me. Now, that actually happened. We were at the Back to the Future town set, and we were picking up all the nails from Clint Eastwood's train depot that he built there for, I think, Pale Rider. And somebody asked me, would you sell the nails? Of course, I think they were just kidding, but yeah, I was willing to sell it to him. So I'm pretty sure it came from the movie set. I'm sure that some of you will want to come out here to this filming location, and once you see this very pronounced shelf of rocks, you will know you're in the right area. And if you also want the GPS coordinates to this place, I may list it in the description. Again, it looks different than it did back when Clint Eastwood was here. Universal Studios wanted Eastwood to shoot the film on its back lot, but Eastwood opted instead to film on location. After scouting locations alone in his pickup in Oregon, Nevada, and California, he settled on the Mono Lake area. Over 50 technicians and construction workers built a mock town of 14 houses, a church, a 2-story hotel, and other buildings in just 18 days using 150,000 feet of lumber. The buildings weren't just made with false fronts, they were built so Eastwood could shoot interior scenes on the site. Filming also occurred at Winnemucca Lake near Reno and in the Inyo National Forest. The film was completed in 6 weeks, 2 days ahead of schedule and under budget. Universal released High Plains Drifter in April 1973, and it eventually grossed $15.7 million, making it the 6th highest grossing Western in North America during the 1970s. One of those who didn't like the movie was Western film icon John Wayne, who was repelled by its violence. You know, I'm not a huge fan of Clint Eastwood's. I mean, I think he's a respectable actor and some of the stuff I like. But I'm just kind of in awe still of the fact that he rode into one of the classic Western films of the 1970s right through this sagebrush area right here after running in off that ridge. I'm curious if any of you have considered that movie one of the best. Like I said, I really didn't appreciate the darkness of it. If you go to Google Earth, you can still see a trail that leads you to the set, and it's still more or less intact, but you have to dodge a lot of sagebrush, and it's high altitude, so I'm a little out of breath. I know some of my viewers have expressed concern about my heavy breathing, so it's really high altitude here, hence High Plains Drifter. But I'm really curious. Let me know again what you think of the movie High Plains Drifter. Now, one scene where they're torturing some guy in the street, that little, I hate to use the word midget, but it's short man. He's relishing in the torture that Clint Eastwood is inflicting. Not my kind of a movie. There's some of that unusual formation. It's like the tufa formation. Closer to the car. I don't think there's any direct route. The road's been lost. There's something else I want to show you. Pieces of obsidian all the way over here. We are very close to the Panem crater. Sarah and I visited on one of our videos, but that's obsidian caused with superheated rock from the volcanic activity around here.
So a parks employee just stopped on the road and informed me that some of the buildings from High Plains Drifter are up the road about a mile ahead. They were salvaged. He told me that not all of the buildings were burned in the movie. So apparently we're going to go by there and see if we could find some of those buildings. Some private property, but apparently we can see them from the road.
Somewhere on this road, Clint Eastwood crossed with his horse to make his way over there to the town. And I gotta tell you, there's been a scraper that's been through here about 5 times or 6 times since we've been here. It's like, okay, I think you've scraped it enough, dude. Sarah had to move the car. So I want to give a plug to my friend Sean Pease, who has All About Los Angeles. He came out here a couple of months ago. I gave him the GPS coordinates, and he was able to line everything up. But if you want to find something interesting, go check out his, he's got a website. I think he's also on Instagram. Now, I'm pretty sure that building over there is not one of them, because I don't think I've seen anything like that from the movie set. This appears to be the spot where all the set buildings were relocated to, and I'm not sure, but that building right there and this house over here definitely looks like it could be from the movie, and it appears that it's being used as a home. There's more outbuildings behind it, so the story that the whole entire set was burned down is not entirely true. But man, look at this scenic location. It's very beautiful. And over in this direction is where the movie town of Lago was, off in that direction. So there you go, a YouTube exclusive. never before told about on YouTube. It's why you need history hunters. Mono Lake has two larger islands, one which figures in one of Mark Twain's Roughing It stories. He and a friend rowed out to the largest island only to realize that they had no potable water. To make matters worse, their boat drifted away in a storm. He wrote, "We were prisoners on a desolate island, in aggravating proximity to friends who were for the present helpless to aid us, and what was still more uncomfortable was the reflection that we had neither food nor water. Eventually the winds that swept their boat out brought it back to shore." Well, it looks like Clint is done, and I think we are too. Thanks for watching this episode of History Hunters, and as always, we'd enjoy reading your comments if you leave us one.